Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, marks and smarks alike, we proudly welcome you to the internet's only wrestling podcast. That's right, we are the only one. We want to welcome you to Pin the Champ! What's up? Thank you guys so much for coming back to another episode of Pin the Champ. I got my pals here, Sawyer, Song, and Kyle. As usual, we're super happy to be here with you. Tonight, we're going to review the Monday Night Raw from February 15th, 1993. As always, we'd like to remind our listeners that if you can, go watch the episode first and you'll get more out of the show. After we review, we'll hear another question from Kyle. How's everybody's week?
Long.
Busy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, it was one of those weeks where you were busy, but then when you went back to look at the clock and where an hour should have taken place, only like
minutes.
20 minutes exactly. Yeah,
Right.
It's just like, why is it not 4 o'clock yet? Why is it not 4 o'clock yet?
Well, there's something with, like, is it an equinox that's going on right now? I realize, like, my terminology, I have no idea.
We're about to spring forward.
We're about to lose an
that
hour,
too.
yeah.
That, too, is a big part of it. But I do feel like there was, like, a literal physical exhaustion over everyone I talked to this week. Like almost like a seasonal affective thing. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of it probably has to do, like, we're going on a full year of this pandemic. And I think a lot of
Sick and
people
tired
now
of
are
it.
just, it's kind of weighing down a lot of people. And hopefully, I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're making that corner and things will get better soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Go get vaccinated, people.
Yeah. Also, the Virginia weather keeps playing games with my heart. And it's
Oh, my
That's
God.
very true.
The 70-degree weather last week was amazing. We took
It's really nice outside right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's cool because, we're going to be doing some walking around afterwards.
Hiking,
So,
walking.
it's going to be awesome. So, you guys want to talk about Raw?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nah. Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Nah.
Sorry. I saw like
Swear's not feeling this
what if we all
episode.
said no. What would Jeremiah be like? Oh, well, I guess back to weather chat.
Sawyer just disappeared off the Zoom.
Yeah,
He dropped the mic and left.
Bye.
His house literally was like on fire and he's gone.
All right, well, you can just hang out, Sawyer, but I'm going to go ahead and mention that today's show, it opens up, and we're promoting Brutus the Barber Beefcake's return with a pair of promos, one from Brutus and one from Ted DiBiase and Jimmy Hart. And, of course, during this promo, they teased tension with Hart and DiBiase early on, so a little tease of things to come later in the episode, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let it be known, I'm continually a Brutus man from last episode on. Brutus Beefcake is officially my boy, having known all of everything he has had to go through. For anyone who wasn't listening last episode, lost his parents within a couple weeks of each other.
His
Both
dog
divorced.
ran off.
Yeah.
He had
His
His wife ran
divorce?
off.
He was not
Yeah.
hanging nor banging with the Hulkster.
No, he had
And he was
two-
hit by like a random hang glider or
Paraglider.
the knees of a young
Knees.
girl. Yeah.
Shattered
I
his
feel
face.
for you, my dude. I feel for you.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing that he even came back.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I
It
don't know
is.
if that would happen today.
And they were really playing that up last week, weren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
I was rooting for you, Broody.
Here's my feeling. Like, I like Ed Leslie. I think that, like, he's the type of guy that when you're on vacation in Myrtle Beach or Key West and, like, you meet somebody at a bar and you're like, hey, I kind of recognize you. What is that from? And he's like, oh, man, you saw me hanging and banging, strutting and cutting because it's me, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I am going to get as drunk as I possibly can with you tonight, and I'll buy every oh, God, I wish you guys could see what I'm saying. Every single one of my co-hosts were doing the
Strutting and a cutting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Kyle, if you want to catch Brutus Beefcake, you can catch him on Thunder in Paradise. Do it. Living that life every day. down in
Shaka
Florida.
Do you think he flinches every time he sees a hang glider these days? No, I'm just kidding.
Probably, I would.
I would.
I'm
It's hard
not
not to
going near a
associate
beach.
it.
No.
Well, as somebody who's watched a fair bit of Thunder in Paradise, it's filmed on location, so in Orlando. So, I mean, there is paragliding going around all around galore. I mean, it's man.
He suffers for his art.
He does. Yeah, it's just he really does seem like a really fun guy to drink with.
Yeah.
Like, he's the kind of guy who, like, you buy him like a couple rounds and then he takes you to a next bar, and then somehow you guys end up like doing blow off a urinal or something. Like that's what
off of his scissors.
Oh yeah.
You know, man, as far as I'm concerned, that's like supporting the troops, because you're like, he's out there doing what he's doing. And it's like,
salute
look,
you.
I literally, I honestly have no interest in cocaine. It is something that is never, but I would happily do it.
That's a bold stance to take, swear.
It's just amazing you do a career that literally is violent, and that's how you injure your face in a big bad way, too, at the same time. Like,
okay, well, first match of the night, Steiner Brothers, but Steiner Brothers defeated Glen, Ruth, and Bobby. Who?
What?
Dog. Yeah.
Oh, dude, some Bartlett Gold, baby.
Some
Bartlett Gold.
Who's on first?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vince knew what he was talking about with that joke either. I don't think Vince
it went right over his head.
I'll hand it to Bartlett. He is a couple steps ahead of Vince, and I don't think Vince likes that aspect of his comedy.
It frustrates him.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like Ruth landed right on his head when Scott suplexed him. That back suplex was vicious.
Right.
I forgot how hardcore they do their suplexes.
Well, and we're Glen Ruth.
Once again, I'm going to remind everyone that the Steiners just came from Japan.
Oh,
Like,
really?
They have just come back from Japan, so they are hard as fuck. Like, they are just stiff as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel it with every punch, every clothesline, every drop kick. It just.
And Glen Ruth's my boy. I love Glen.
Well, we're a Glen Ruth podcast.
We are the internet's only Glen Ruth podcast. So, you know, as a big Ruth head, you know, I'm a Ruth Chris. I'm a
Ruth Chris.
I'm
too much. Hey,
I'm a big Glen Ruth guy. Is what
can
I'm
you? All right, I need a kayfabe reason from one of you guys as to why Rick Steiner's tights said raisins on it.
Oh, well, that's easy. Raisins is the middle name of well, it's his middle name. He's Rick Raisin
Rick
Steiner.
Raisin Steiner.
and it's his mother's maiden name. The Raisins are a big family in Michigan.
Yeah.
You may have heard of one of their restaurants, Raisins King.
Hell.
Raisins
Hell.
Well, yeah, they do. That song "Raise a Little Hell" that was written about them. Like
Raisins a Little Hell.
They are a very well-known family in Michigan. So it's more of a and I believe if I'm not, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Steiner's great grandfather, Leopold Raisin, was one of the original grapplers in the carnival circuit back in the day. So it's probably just an homage to him.
Well, Kyle, where I might actually have to chime in on that one is I actually believe that them being an up-and-coming primetime series, they did have to do their fair share of promos, and everyone knows the California Raisins special was well on its way.
It's true. That was very popular. They were very popular at that time.
Yeah, and him being a big Motown guy, of course he loves the California Raisins.
That's true. Detroit, Michigan, Motown. I get it.
Yeah. So that's what I heard. I'm no expert, but it seems timely and appropriate for me.
Oh, you heard of Rick Steiner's cousin, right? Raisins Kane.
Raisins game. Well, I think it's really just up to the pinheads to decide which they think is the truth.
But did you guys notice that though during the match that his tights said
did.
raisins on it? I was like, what is that all about?
Yeah.
I don't know
Honestly,
if they just thought
I wanna think that like I think maybe it was a design
flaw.
Well, no, like maybe it was like a company, like a tights company.
Maybe that was so weird.
Because it's RAY, right?
No, it was RAISIN.
I'm rewinding it. I'm trying to like get a good look here.
I'm also doing what research I can at this
He
moment.
moves.
We may never know.
Rick Steiner moves too much to like really
get a good look at it.
You get some weird search results when you search Scott
Raisin?
Steiner, like raisins. Like,
well, it's Rick Steiner. This one.
Oh, it is
this
Rick.
is Rick
Okay,
Steiner,
good.
yeah.
For a second, I was like, why did I Google Rick? But I was right.
RAIS
is like on the back, I think, right? Because it's upside down.
It's on like the sides.
Yeah.
You pull up Wikipedia and it has a lot of results, but then it crosses out raisins. I was like, well, then you're useless. Get out of here.
You know, I think it's a shout out to Leopold Raisin.
There you go.
That's gonna be my guess, but it could also be California Raisins.
Yes.
Great match though. I mean, God, like Rick and Scott both have a fucking great look.
Yeah.
Like Rick's. Oh God, Rick just looks legitimately like, you know, your stepdad's friend who could really beat you up.
Yeah.
I really love that spot that he did off the top rope where he came down with the elbow, but he stayed standing up and just kind of.
I just watched him do that.
Yeah.
It was so fucking good.
I love that spot. Yep. So yeah, it was obviously a jobbers match. Steiner brothers defeated them handily with that bulldog.
I don't think it's fair to call the Steiner brothers jobbers. You know.
Well, compared to Glen, Ruth, and Bobby.
Compared to Glen Ruth.
Yeah. Well, it's not fair to compare anyone to Glen Ruth because
Right.
you just can't do it.
I mean, there's a reason this is not called the Steiner Brothers podcast. It's the Glen Ruth podcast.
When it comes to Glen
He's
Ruth,
the
we're all
champ.
jobbers.
He's the champ that we're referring to. He's the champ that we want people to pin.
Right.
That's the chant. We're pinning
So
Glen Ruth. Headbanger.
Come at
Next-
me, bro.
next up, we get the WrestleMania 9 report with Mean Gene. So that put me in the mood, man. I can't wait for WrestleMania 9. That's a review that'll be coming up not too far from now. So Mean Gene lets us know. He runs down the matches that are have been announced so far, and of course, there's Bret Hart versus Yokozuna for the WWE title, and that's because Yokozuna won the Royal Rumble that we recently reviewed. Then also because of the Rumble, we've got Undertaker versus the Giant Gonzalez. He did his debut. Gonzalez did at the Royal Rumble, as you remember. And the third match that they announced was Crush versus the Evil Clown Doink. So 3 matches announced so far for WrestleMania 9, the world's largest toga party, still to come.
Doink is such a great character.
It's weird that I'm invested in it. I am.
I just want to remind people.
I know what you're trying. Are you reminding people that Doink's great, or were you about to say that?
No, I just want people to remember that. I realize I was just like, I just want to remember. What I meant was, I just want people to remember how great Doink is.
No, but also, I thought you were about to say, like, I want people to remember what a piece of shit Matt Bourne was.
Oh, actually, yeah, no, Matt Bourne is a piece. I was
waiting for
I
that.
Said, how great Doink is, despite how big of a piece of shit Matt Bourne is.
You've said it every time so far, so I was waiting for it again.
Look, I don't think it's good to hit women. I call it or anyone, any partner, any person.
Well, you have your opinions, and we have ours. Okay.
Anyone.
Oh wait, hold on. What stance are we taking now?
All right,
this doesn't feel very Glen Ruth.
So next up, we get Yokozuna defeating Ross Greenberg, who I believe personally had to borrow Brutus the Barber Beefcake's tights
Also, good quip from Rob. I got to give it to him. The Asia Minor, Asia Major joke was pretty good too. I hate that.
You are really coming around on your father there, man.
Well, it's
starting to really fall in love with his dad's work.
Yeah,
it's weird. You break through the Stockholm syndrome, and then you're just right back where you started from. So.
I mean, like during this whole thing, I think like one Macho Man, his microphone wasn't working. And eventually end up taking Martin's microphone. So we didn't get the 3-man commentating crew in this episode.
Oh, that's right.
What was happening with Macho's mic? I was so confused, with that whole thing, because it was like it was like he was in the Phantom Zone for half of it. He said it wasn't working, but he was clearly there, and it felt like they were keeping him in a box. I was very confused by that bit.
It could have been coming through on somebody else's mic. Was just picking him up because you can hear him saying, "Somebody get me a mic" or something like that.
Yeah, it was just so bizarre. But it was too weird to be scripted. You know?
Right. Well, it is live TV back then, so
definitely.
I guess maybe they only had 3 microphones the whole time.
He sounded so
Greenberg
bizarre.
Had a 8-year professional career with the WWF.
Who did?
Ross Greenberg.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Jobber to the stars.
Jobber to the stars. Yeah. I think the whole thing with the microphone might have been just like a mistake that they tried to cover it up as Bartlett being a protagonist to Savage or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It just seemed like he was far away, which was the weirdest thing. I was like, I don't understand. I could understand if the bit was like him and Bartlett sharing a mic too, but something definitely went wrong, and then it seemed like he was far away from everything that was happening.
If I remember correctly, a lot of like early television WWE is notorious for bad sound.
Right.
They often be like, well, folks, it's live, so we can't guarantee that the sound will work.
Right.
But it's also just like, did he migrate somewhere else and call
Uncooked, unclenched, unbutthole.
Next up after the Yokozuna squash match was a WWF magazine special report with Lord Alfred Hayes. Number one, did you guys ever get the WWF magazines when you were a kid?
I wanted it really, really badly, but it was one of those things where my parents tolerated that I watched wrestling and would even slightly indulge me to like let me rent the occasional pay-per-view, but they were not going to encourage it enough to
subscribe.
Yeah. To let me subscribe to a magazine. There's the great moment in King of the Hill where Bobby Hill is playing Magic the Gathering or doing something with Magic, and Peggy Hill says, there are a lot of things Bobby's interested in that I'm accepting of, but Hank, I want grandchildren. And I think that's kind of where my mom and dad were thinking. They were just like, look, Kyle's got enough going against him.
Well, Kyle, who's laughing now? You're married?
Exactly. Little did they know I'm married still, and I watch wrestling, so suck it.
It worked out.
I was gonna say suck it, mom and dad, but that's a weird thing to
say.
So.
Yeah. Also cool was seeing Lord Alfred Hayes, right?
I love Lord Al. Like he's one of those guys that this like I know it's because I'm just the simplest simpleton from Simpletown, but like I hear a British accent and I'm immediately like, a gentleman.
Yes.
A respectable gentleman.
In a sport that isn't very gentlemanly.
Right.
He's the Marquis de Queensberry rules. Yes, of course. Thank you, Lord Alfred.
Well, and you get kind of that lifestyles of the rich and famous kind of vibe too, where you're like, you're like, we're adding some class to it.
That is I feel like immediately just like, man, they really pulled out all the stops for this one. They got themselves a British guy.
So I actually learned through Lord Alfred Hayes has an IMDb page, and he was a wrestler at first, and his name was actually Judo Al Hayes when he started. Yeah,
I don't know. I love nicknames that are like Karate Kyle Tally. Like that's what I want to. I want to be known as from now on.
That's what the professor moonlights as. Is
Yeah,
Karate Kyle
that's my face gimmick. Is karate?
Yeah. Heel by day, face by night.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right, ladies. I'm a heel in the streets and a face in the sheets. Oh no! Oh no!
No, I think you know what, Kyle? I think a lady would appreciate a face in the sheets.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta love her right.
They probably like a little face.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That one is for the ladies.
We lost a lot of younger viewers now. Their moms and dads are not going to let them listen anymore. Anyway.
Oh, I can't wait till my mother makes it to this.
Wait, am I not supposed to curse in this show? I forget. Am I not supposed to curse?
I don't know. No. I definitely cursed.
Okay.
No, we've said something. Yeah, I just think it's hilarious.
We like a little cunnilingus talk is fine.
Yeah.
Little wrestling.
And as long as you acknowledge the fact that you shouldn't have said it, it's cool for your kids to watch.
And I shouldn't have just said that.
Right.
Kids don't listen to me.
So
we're talking about Colonel Angus. That's
Colonel Angus is awesome. So Judo Al, he goes to a clip of Hacksaw Jim Duggan taking Yoko off of his feet for what I believe that they billed as the very first time.
Very first time.
Yes.
Yep. Yoko throws a wooden bucket of cocaine at Duggan. It's actually it
really was everywhere back then, you know.
Well, I say that because it was Duggan and Iron Sheik
I was
that got
to say Duggan
busted,
had
right?
a bunch of coke in his I want to say it was like a Camaro or something.
Yeah, they were really into that whole rock and roll lifestyle that the wrestlers were portraying themselves to be. You know, it's like rock and wrestling.
I mean, it was a different time.
Yeah.
CM Punk would not have been popular.
No.
I mean, honestly though, like we don't. This is like a little like kids. Uncle Kyle's gonna talk about the 70s real quick for a second, but like it was super common
before he was born.
it was super common back then, like for like them to joke about like cocaine use on television, and like it was like kind of like how cannabis is now.
Yeah.
Like people treated it like that.
I'll
then.
be back. Gotta powder my nose.
Yeah.
Dude, they made the U-Crop's old coffee stirrers were like little spoons,
right?
And like they like that was a thing. Like people used to wear necklaces that had little spoons on the end of it. Long story short,
poison
it was a lot
rings
more,
and all.
The
rings,
the rings with the little bit, and it was a lot more common in what is now called sports entertainment, but was called wrestling back in the day, because it was a little bit more. It was a little bit more dangerous. It was a little bit more, it was wrestling was still a little bit of a carny type thing, and so it had a little bit more of an edge to it.
Yeah,
and I think guys like the Iron Sheik and Duggan, when you're getting early into the WWE, especially when Vince took over from his father, it does become, he definitely softens it a lot quicker than I think some of those guys were used to.
Right.
I mean, now it's fantastic. You know, like Kevin Nash has the joke that, you know, he went into the locker room a couple years ago and he shook a bottle of Advil just to see if anybody would turn around, because back in the day you shake a pill bottle and
everybody turned
on you. He said, you know, not a single kid's head looked up.
Right.
He's like, they don't even drink nowadays.
Right.
And
they're really cleaning the products up.
I think, look, as long as they're living longer, that's all that matters.
That's good.
I'm not going to be the Undertaker and be like, oh, all the guys today are soft.
Right.
But like, it is a part of the history. So like, I promise parents, me talking about cocaine is not just funny.
It's not just fun.
Also historic.
We also all can't be the Undertaker. He's got a bargain with death. It's not fair. Like, there's clearly an immortality factor.
He is immortal after taking that.
If I were immortal, I'd do drugs too. Why not?
Hey, he lived through a match with Goldberg, so he's got to be immortal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you don't just do graveyard matches with, you know, like.
So Yoko.
What did you guys? You think the ending with Yokozuna laying the flag on Hacksaw and then like dropping his bonsai drop on the flag, that wouldn't fly today, right? You wouldn't think
on the American flag, maybe.
Right.
I think it would.
Nah, I think with all the flag huggers out there these days, it's going to cause a big stir.
It would cause a storm. People would be divided by it.
Yeah,
don't think
especially
it
with
would
one
be
side
a
already
true division.
hijacking the flag.
And then I think a lot of the people in between are like, well, I mean, I don't know. I think there's bigger things to worry about too.
Do you remember when Shawn Michaels wiped his butt?
Yes. And he picked his nose with the
Canadian flag.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody cared because they're Canadian. I mean, I'm sure the Canadians didn't get mad, but like realistically, like, I mean, I know to our Canadian listeners, there are Canadian extremists and Canadian separatists and all that kind of stuff. Like extremists exist in every culture, but like of the mildest cultures, like Canadians are like the ones where it's just be like, oh, that's not very nice, eh?
Yeah.
You should say sorry.
We're like the kids in the hall Canadians and the
yeah. I don't know. I honestly think a controversial opinion. I think flags are flags. Who cares? They're a piece of material. Like I realize, some people are like, oh, really think a lot of them. But I think that if death is not off the table, flags should not be off the table. I think the only things that should really in wrestling be off the table are sexual assault and real war, like dealing with a war that's currently happening.
Right.
Like
and maybe hardcore race
and
issues.
hell even
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that, but that's absolutely like race issues are like
And if also you're gonna be a piece of shit, make him a heel. I ain't having you as a face. Like, give me like, I'll root against you every time, motherfucker. Like, I don't know.
The thing about the whole American flag thing, right? And is what people, a lot of younger viewers at least, might not realize is that the history of wrestling is tied to that. Because speaking of like racial stuff, it's tied to like Russia versus America, like all that the foreign menace, right? It was always like that, you know what I mean, in history and throughout the modern era, we're going away from that, which is a great thing, and we're getting into more like soap opera type stories and nuanced storytelling, but. In the early 90s, that was a period of time where we were in transition from that one thing that I'm talking about that happened so long ago with the foreign menace. Even WrestleMania 7 had Sergeant Slaughter versus Hogan in wake of the Iraqi war, right? So
and Slaughter was the Iraqi sympathizer, right?
Right.
Yeah,
and so
invasion of Kuwait and everything. Yeah.
Right.
How do you guys feel about watching like bad characters get their ass kicked, like Nazis getting their ass kicked in the ring, like or Klansmen? Because I know Glow touched on it, where like we can't do that, it's taboo. But now I think you could do a brand new take where it literally is a character. Like you have to separate the person playing it, but you make them look like the fool. You make them get their asses kicked.
Well, this day and age, you got to be careful. If you make a Nazi the heel, others might take them as the face.
Right.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Is you're always gonna have people who cheer the heel too, and that's like in today's modern era. Like you have cool heels, and you don't want to risk, like, for him to be effective, for a racist character. I think to be effective, they would have to be effective. If that makes sense, in the ring.
Yeah.
And then,
I just feel like it's always a clown performance. Like it would be like a definitive, we're going to watch this piece of shit and they're going to watch them lose. But I do understand where there's Nazis being like, see, they're keeping us down. And you're like, shut up.
Another problem with that, Sawyer, is to make an effective story, that heel would have to begin by wreaking havoc. And
but at the same time, you know how we watch... like bits show up that are clowny, weird bits where you're like, I don't get what, how there's matches, how it's going to turn out because that's the gimmick. Right. You know what I mean? Like they can never win would be the thing.
I'll tell you why you don't see that is because I don't think any wrestler wants to tie their career to a gimmick that's not going to pay off for anything other than a quick joke.
And
but it's a jobber thing. Like it's literally like a jobber. I
think, and honestly, I think you would be hard pressed even in today's market to find somebody, because it's just like unless I'm being brought in to be like an Oscar piece type, I'm not going to risk my entire wrestling career being labeled, oh, this is the guy who said, the N-word or said.
Well, that's the thing. You don't do any of that. It literally is you show up in costume. Your face is never shown. So you it literally would be I'm a Klansman character.
I mean, I'm sure you probably see stuff like that on the indies where to get a cheap pop, you see a Jewish wrestler will beat up a Klansman or something like that. I'm sure that happens on low-scale indie shows, but I just don't think it's worthwhile.
Not a publicly traded
company. I see the gamble. I like the idea where there's a satisfying satire about it. Where
I get what you're saying. I love watching.
Then they tried
pieces of shit get their ass kicked.
Jack Swagger and the.
That's exactly what happened. They made a heel in Jack Swagger.
We the People and made him the heel.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Extreme Southerner or whatever his character was.
He was a Tea Partier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get it. I see the pitfalls, and I don't want people to be they need to be out there. It's mostly I would love to see the satisfaction.
Yeah. And plus,
you love when a true heel gets their ass kicked because that's the point,
Characters like that would show up in the Southern state and be the hero.
It's true.
Possibly.
I mean, back in the day,
back in the day. But I also don't want to write off the South as a whole. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm not going to pretend that is
definitely not a
But
racist
I also because I consider myself from the South, and I'm I've aspired very much not to be that.
I think we all consider ourselves from the South.
Exactly.
I'm a Yankee. I love
except for Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle's from Buffalo, New York.
He's one of those elitists.
Have I told you about the Great Wings and the team?
We don't need to hear from you.
I think we got a little off topic, guys.
Yeah. But you know what? But honestly, that's what this show is for, too, is to discuss things in wrestling.
Right, yeah. All right, well, so Yoko hits Duggan, like Song said, and Old Glory with a bonsai drop. Then Duggan gets wheeled out on a stretcher. I thought the interview with Mr. Fuji was hilarious, though. He basically just repeated the word squash over and over again.
Sometimes Mr. Fuji is, I don't know if it has to be. He's fucking brilliant. He's not a great promo because English isn't his first language, so it's a little hard to understand him. But
it's enjoyable.
When he is on, man, he nails it. I could this is the kind of promo that just had me cracking up.
Me too. I loved it. Classic Fuji.
Oh yeah.
So after the Alfred Hayes WWF magazine thing, we cut to commentary, who says they mentioned that all 16 participants refused to enter the Battle Royale if Giant Gonzalez would be in it. They go back to the clip of Gonzalez on WWE Superstars where he's beating up several jobbers. After the commercial, it's the 16-man Battle Royale. I love a Battle Royale, guys. It's I was so excited to hear that there would be a Battle Royale. I did think it was a weird amount of people, though. A 16-man?
Yeah.
It was
odd.
It's usually 20 men or 30.
20.
10 sometimes, maybe.
More than
that's
16.
Interesting.
Mostly 20.
Number.
Right.
Maybe
it's interesting because it's shorter numbers, and the numbers you got are refusing to participate with them. So it's
right. Yep.
Did some catch wind early? I don't know.
So the guys that were in this were Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Coco Beware, Taylor, terrific Terry Taylor, Owen Hart, El Matador, Tatanka, Kimchi, Kamala, Iron Mike Sharp, which was that's the jobber to the star, right?
Raw, yeah.
Berserker, we had Damian Demento, Skinner, Typhoon, and Bob Backlund. Finally, of course, Giant Gonzalez too. What'd you guys think of this? What were some of the highlights?
Gonzalez wasn't official.
No, he was, because he's the 16th man.
I thought the commentator said he wasn't officially.
So him not being official would make sense because, to your earlier point, Jeremiah, traditional battle royals begin with 10, 15, or 20, 20 or more. So 16 would make an odd number out, and it would make sense him not being officially there. Now, I don't know if this is one of those things where the WWE kind of muddy the waters and don't explain, is he in the match? Is he? This is why we need rules in wrestling, folks.
Because he didn't start it out in it like everybody else started out in that ring.
At first, I thought I know that, yeah. But at first, I thought that that there wasn't enough people, and sure enough, when I counted it, if you count it, so I'm counting 1, 2, 3. It's 15 without Gonzalez, and so
do they say it's going to be a 16?
They say it's 60. There's a graphic.
Yeah, he has to be official.
Yeah.
Unless they're insinuating that it's now a 15-man Royal Rumble. Okay, I think here's what I think
it's
they're
just
insinuating.
Muddied. I think it's like you said.
Super muddy.
They muddied it so that they could have him coming at the end.
Yeah. Which I hate, but once again, I'm with you. I love Battle Royals. I think this had the who's who of their mid-card. I think a lot of insanely talented people and a couple up-and-comers like Damien Demento and El Matador.
Well, El Matador.
Shawn, obviously, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon being the winner.
Yep.
Owen Hart, always great to see.
Are
Bob
you guys
Backlund.
trying to tell me you're not ride or die El Matador fans? Because I'm still.
He referred to El Matador as a newcomer. The character is a newcomer.
Tito Santana.
But Tito Santana is like from the 70s.
It's like when they called Carlos Colon that up and
comer.
Hot new
so
young
who
talent.
was that? Bartlett that did that? Was that Bartlett? I assume that said it.
No, that was pure tally, baby. That was Kyle.
Yeah,
you did. I got you. I got confused. I was like, where was that in the episode?
I'll tell you, one of my favorite parts of this was when Kamala kicked Berserker right in the face to eliminate him. The agility on Kamala was great.
Dude, this was a pretty good battle royal. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but it was definitely worth 15 minutes of time.
Yeah.
And Razor, honest to God, Scott Hall that's a lot of beef. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
That's a lot of beef right there.
Well, and that's also the first kind of like multi-event that they've done. I don't know what you would call it. I don't want to say like multi-man, but you know what I mean? Like this is like the first thing beyond like regular
special match
on Raw.
Yeah,
what we call
Raw, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
also
all,
the first
that,
time they
like,
had a fight spill into the audience that I can remember.
Yeah, so what happened was Kimchi and Typhoon teamed up and they eliminated Kamala, and then Kamala comes back in after elimination and eliminates Kimchi. After that, Kamala chases Kimchi through the crowd into the convention stand. We come back from commercial, and Kamala is chasing Kimchi through the rafters. So that was a pretty funny little bit, too.
Yeah.
Great. Love it.
Typhoon was eliminated by Michaels, and that was pretty cool to see a small guy eliminate like such a large guy.
Yeah, especially after the announcer was talking about how much of an advantage the bigger guy has in the battle royal. So and then you see the smaller guy eliminate Typhoon. That was pretty cool.
So the final four saw Santana and Tatanka paired up against Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Santana ends up going after Razor while Michaels attacks Tatanka. Santana and Michaels have a good sequence together. I'm not sure if Strike Force versus Rockers ever happened, but it kind of, reminded me, that's what that would be like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also kept on mentioning that were they building towards Tatanka Shawn Michaels feud or something? Because they were talking about how Tatanka had beaten Michaels in a non-title match before this battle royal.
That's the match at WrestleMania 9 is Michaels versus Tatanka. I think that's like the opening match of WrestleMania 9. So good all out there. Yeah. Santana, did I mention that Santana and Tatanka double team Michaels, eliminate him? Then Tatanka and Santana go after Razor, but then Giant Gonzalez, like you were saying, Song, he comes in very similarly to the way he did at the Rumble. He eliminates Tatanka and Santana, and that makes Razor Ramon our winner. One for the bad guy.
One for the bad guy.
Right?
Loved it. Great match.
Absolutely.
Not great match, but good match.
Yeah, it's entertaining to have in the middle of a show. It was.
I'm always about a battle royale. Yeah.
I was gonna say you cram as many wrestlers into anything like as once. I'm like, I'm a child, I'm there. It's a win.
Yeah, right.
Even when it's not great.
The more guys on screen, the better, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby.
Main event time. Talk about guys. Beefcake comes.
Beefer.
Speaking of Beefcake.
It's main event time, and we get the return of a Brutus against the $1 Million Man, evil Ted DiBiase. early on in the match, we get Brutus the Barber, Beefcake with a strutting and a cut, and it frustrates Dibiase. An IRS also comes out mid-match, and it was then I realized Erwin R. Shyster was the OG Money in the Bank guy.
He hit the Halliburton.
Yeah, the Halliburton case. I never really put two and two together, but I was like, it's almost like he's got Money in Bank out there.
Yeah, man, that was honestly
a great weapon.
That is in my top 5 of wrestling, like
weaponry,
weapon props.
Weapon props.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love me a Halliburton.
Man, it sounded rough up against Brutus' head, didn't it?
It did.
It has a great noise.
Yeah.
It's believable. It looks like it could actually like knock the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you'd associate with like either like federal people or like drug dealers and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's like dangerous. It's a dangerous piece of luggage, and I love that.
Halliburton sounds
sticker
mean.
bust.
Halliburton sounds like a gun.
Oh, Kendo Stick is in the list too. I love it.
So, IRS ends up smacking Beefcake with the case to get Ted DiBiase DQ'd, and this is where we have the Jimmy Hart face turn. He tries to stop Erwin from hitting Beefcake with the briefcase in the face, but Erwin tosses Hart right out of the ring and proceeds to smack the bejesus out of Beefcake. Hart gets back in the ring, covers Beefcake to protect him, and on the way out, DiBiase heals it up by yelling, "Welcome back, Beefcake!" So that was cool. They stretch her Beefcake out of the ring, and they show the blood stain left by Beefcake's face.
Everybody's got a price.
That's right. So, yeah, what'd you guys think of the main event?
Real quick thing, something to consider in the timing of all this, because I got curious, at the risk of bringing up Thunder in Paradise one more time. Jimmy Hart, you said, is having a face turn at this point in time, correct? Right. You said that they're kind of developing that. Thunder in Paradise is coming out in 1994, so we're about 6 months away. So I cannot help but feel like that is partially Disney branding happening at that point in time, where they're not going to have a heel Jimmy Hart. They need to have him be a face so he can be a likable set piece on the show.
You got a point.
That is probably very likely. That is very interesting, very astute.
Batman.
I love me some Jimmy Hart. I think the Mouth of the South is great. I really enjoy. I don't like matches that end in DQs, but this was fine.
It was for a purpose.
It's for the purpose. It's leading to it's kind of the start of the story. So the DQ is okay by me.
It's going somewhere.
Culturally, like at the time, what do you think the fan was? Do you think there was a divided stance, or do you think everybody was rooting for Beefcake?
I think everybody was rooting for Beefcake.
Right? Like, people had to be against Dibiase.
Nobody really liked Dibiase.
Okay, good.
They were unlikable heels.
Well, I mean, you love to hate them because it again, it's a socially acceptable.
Yeah, but they're not like Randy Orton, where it's like he's the cool heel. They were known as like the uncool heels, the ones that didn't get the heel cheers really as much.
Yeah, but I think it's still, you kind of like it. Like, people, I feel like, still like him for that, right? Like, he was.
People liked Ted DiBiase, but like not in a like a
cheer for you way.
Like liking the Riddler or like Cesar Romero as the Joker, where you love them.
Yeah, you enjoy them.
They are the right villain, the right amount of villain.
But I would say that like in terms of like of like villains back then that people would cheer for, you'd see much more of a Ric Flair or Mr. Perfect.
Oh, definitely. Where you're more of an anti-hero in
exactly.
Anyways, but like Dibiase played the part of the villain. Like,
he's
you like him as a performer,
he's your
but you
consummate
don't root
villain.
for the character. Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to make sure I'm not off base in thinking that. I was just like, people have to be on Beefcake's side on this one.
Here's the thing, though. They're basically signaling to the audience that they're getting the band back together.
Yeah,
definitely.
You've got the first heat of Beefer.
Right.
Now you've got the second. You've got the beef. Now you've got the heart. Now all you need is the Hogan.
You got the mouth.
Exactly.
Right.
The mouth of Hogan. You've got the beef, the mouth. Now all you need is the soul of America, the real American.
The vitamin taken, going to bed on timing.
Dude, like they really were like trying to sell Hogan because Macho Man basically put him right up there with God.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they had to promote Thunder in Paradise. So
he's like, oh yeah, Brutus had the best tag team up behind him. He got God and Hogan looking out for him. Like, oh come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
The Trinity, Hogan, God, and Beefcake.
Not my Billy Graham. Not my Billy Graham.
I despise Hogan.
The
older
honestly, honestly though, I do love the team up, but I do think that also you're seeing that the fans are kind of sick of Hogan.
Oh, good. No, they should be.
There's always some Hogan boos. So, and I'm not talking people who are like, Hogan's my boo, but like,
yeah.
He's not talking bays. He's talking boos.
I don't want you guys to worry too much because after commercial break, they let us know the Beefcake has no major damage other than the damage he already had. And he made
the emotional ones.
Yeah, from his wife and his dog.
Yeah, just everything he was doing.
Oh God, it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to the old beefer.
Yeah.
Paragliders song.
The commentary crew lets us know that he very well might be at Raw next week, and Money Inc. will also be there, and even the Hulkster might show up. They also announced that next week we'll get a 6-man tag with Tatanka and the Nasties versus Shawn Michaels and the Beverly Brothers, and that was the end of Monday Night Raw this week, boys. What was your highlight?
Once again, I'm gonna say it. God, I love these hour-long Raws. They're just. It's so like anytime I watch one of these after I've watched regular Raw, I'm just like, ugh, God, why is regular Raw so long?
Just make your point and get out of there.
Yeah, like just get to the
save
point.
The long shit for because if it's not a Royal Rumble, Battle Royale, like a ladder match, like some sort of gimmicky thing, then yeah, I only want an hour. No, and I'm glad a lot of performers are working, but you know,
I think I could even deal with 2 hours just fine.
Sure.
But
or maybe cut out a million fucking commercials. Maybe we don't need a fucking million commercials. I understand you got to keep the lights on, but Jesus Christ.
Well, it's not just a commercial. You got the recap of the same segment we just saw. So,
look,
Taco Bell, I'm going to you.
If we don't know that Sheamus and the Orange Fuzz Monster are promoting some sort of cellular program, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, if I have to see Charlotte Flair on that cricket commercial one more time, I swear.
You good,
where
girl?
I'm like,
I'm gonna wear your robe, right, girl?
Yeah, well, like we just watched the Queen like literally like present, be like, "Don't fuck with me," but then these cartoon characters be like, "I get to try on your shit," right? I'm like, you can punch that thing and you can do whatever you want to it on television, like, but you're just gonna give it a weird, endearing look. No, I don't buy it.
Well, that's the PG era, my dude. That's Charlotte's.
That's what grinds my gears, guys.
So,
but no, it was good. I love seeing a special match. More of that.
It also explains again why last week was kind of weak. You know, they saved all the good shit for this. Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
I watch a lot of B movies, so I enjoyed the bad acting by Hart pretending to care for Beefcake. I thought putting himself. Yeah, I don't know. I just love bad acting. Apparently,
I do. That's my favorite part about this golden era stuff is the bad acting plays into it.
Oh my goodness!
Nowadays, you just get certain people that you're like.
I love the cheesiness of that whole thing. Like here's this little scrawny manager. Like, oh, I gotta protect this big, giant piece of man.
I just love the weird characters they had in the early 90s. Dudes with body suits with hair on it.
Yeah. Also Thunder in Paradise fam.
We are really promoting Thunder in Paradise.
It's a good show.
Look, Song, just like a good wrestling promo, you gotta hype up the pay-per-views. You know, you gotta
talk about on that show.
It's unique in what it is, and what it is unique. It is like I
I'm also
Like-
basically doing the Arrested Development. What's office magic? Like where it's like, so Kyle and Sawyer seem to talk about this. Although Sawyer's really doing talking a lot about Thunder in Paradise. This one, we want people to know what we're talking about so that they tune in to find out.
I think that like I want to put it over. Yeah, we're putting Thunder in Paradise over. We're really we're selling big for it. The thing about Thunder in Paradise is, and I think I've said it before, it's like if a 13-year-old's fantasy became a television show.
Yeah,
13-year-old.
It really is. Specifically in that era. And then on top of that, they do sort of the Simpsons SNL guest of the week thing, where there's always a professional wrestler like featured villain in some capacity.
I need to get back on that, man, because I
so
think that's the part that I would enjoy the most is seeing like the ones that aren't on the show the whole time, but it's like, oh shit, that's Haku or whatever. Yeah.
Sting.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't know about wrestler Sting, y'all, this is the best introduction I can think of.
Oh man.
4 episode appearances, by the way, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
4 episodes.
Sting's actually a great that's a great transition because it brings me to the Kyle question that I'm going to be proposing for all you marks out there, including the marks that I host this show with.
You got my attention. You had me at Sting.
So as everyone knows, this is a Glen Ruth podcast. And yes, Glen Ruth does become later one of the headbangers. But I want to propose a timeline where Vince sees something in Glen Ruth and he wants to pair him with another mid to up card talent to make a new tag team. Who is that wrestler and what is that tag team called?
Yes, I was
Dude,
really hoping.
that's awesome.
Yes, I was really
Awesome.
hoping you were going with the part 2 on that too.
I love it.
I'm all about this life.
Now I got
Can't
to
wait to
create
that
a
one.
whole new group of tag teams. Oh, it's gonna be
Oh
great.
yeah.
I
I get to pitch a character next week, our next show. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm throwing out the combo of Glen Ruth and Skinner under the idea that they're Ruth Gator, and then if they have Duke the Dumpster, it's Bensberg.
That's
it is.
hilarious,
I was waiting
dude.
for it.
The first person I thought as my partner for Ruth was Duke the Dumpster Drosy, so I'll do something different.
There you go.
So help me out just so I know, Professor. I want to make sure I do the homework assignment
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
Are we talking currently running, like at the time, I assume, since you once were?
I would say I'm gonna open it up. They don't even have to be
From that
current
time frame,
WWF superstars. They can be anyone
anybody.
from the current, or the current being 1993 era. So you can grab me anybody from any wrestling promotion.
In
The
that era.
WWE spared no expense. They released whatever person that you want from their contract to get them here to team up with their new tag superstar Glen Ruth.
Okay, so it's got to be like 93 and before is what you're saying.
Yes.
Then. Okay, perfect. That's what I want to make sure I'm clear on. Okay, all right.
All right. Well, all my pinheads out there, you heard Kyle's question. This is a good one this week, man. You guys get to create your own new tag team. So go ahead and dive into your WWE encyclopedias or hop on WWE.com and look at the alumni back from 93, and let's see who's going to be teaming with Glen Ruth soon, huh?
You can even go out to my WCW, my Smoky. It's Smoky Mountain.
Oh,
no,
Smoky.
Mountain wasn't. Smoky Mountain had not been created yet. I think that's 94.
Okay.
But my New Japan heads,
Okay.
all those are open. So.
All right, guys. Well, a little food for thought. We're going to go ahead and say goodnight to you guys. We appreciate you listening again and look forward to hearing from you soon. As always, thank you so much for listening. Now we want to hear from you. You can hit us up at pinthechamppodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at pinthechamp123, and our Google Voice number is 804-446-1139. We can't wait to hear from you.